everyone, it's Cute Brain Pants. So just to recap from last time, Ibuki woke up into the school, I guess the previous night, and she wants to leave the school. However, she realized that the exit and entrance to the school has been barricaded, and it's been like that for a year, but none of the students seem to be like concerned about it, or at least like Tama hasn't. And there's only 7 students on the school. There's no teachers, and now we're just helping Tama clean up the classroom. I feel like everything seems so chill, so I'm waiting for things to hit the fan because it seems a bit too chill for like a horror visual novel. Could you wipe off the window and the blackboard with a rag, please? A dry rag would be fine. Okay. Rana approached the storage cabinet, taking the opportunity to investigate if there was anything noteworthy in the cabinet, but she didn't find anything worth mentioning. Ron could only take up a white rag and start wiping off the blackboard and measure paste. Why are they cleaning the classroom? I was like, there's no teachers, so do they still have class? Like, who's teaching them? A class schedule? Ron noticed that there was a class schedule taped to the blackboard. Because visibility had been quite poor the previous night, it took Rana until now to notice that. She halted her work and started reading the schedule carefully. There are only 4 classes listed on it: language, mathematics, physics, and chemistry. So are the kids just teaching themselves? And there were only classes scheduled in the morning. Afternoons were assigned to free activities for each of the 5 school days, apparently. Ron was actually starting to believe that there were only students at the school. No teacher would have ever assigned such a relaxed curriculum. After she finished cleaning off the blackboard, Ron raised her head, watching Tama's petite form scramble all over the room, cleaning things up. She suddenly felt like there was something strange about the classroom. What's strange? The music's dying down too. By the way, why does the classroom have so many desks if you only got 7 students here? Oh, that. Were there more students before? Tama took a long breath, apparently very pleased with the fruits of her labor. It was like that when we showed up here. What? Huh? What do you mean? We thought about reorganizing, but the desks were pretty heavy, and moving them would take a lot of effort. When we showed up here, what do you mean, like? So we decided to keep the place as is, and we can use the spare desks as extra if we ever need them. What? She ran frightened empathy and nodded, thinking to herself. This explanation just barely makes sense. It's similar to the question of why the students are packed up to a room despite how large the dormitory building is. It's not that weird on its own, but there's got to be more reasonable ways to handle these things, right? But Ron looked at Tama, who was reorganizing the storage cabinet with her back to Ron, and opened her mouth to speak. Asked about the difference between Idu and your school norms. Tell Idu and her school to Terwell. Use temporary points. Let's use our charisma, because we have 5 charisma. I knew that her hakama looks wonderful on you. It goes really well with your hairstyle. Really? Thank you. Tama set down her broom. She turned and raised her arm, and she shook her wide sleeves towards Ron a few times. I was a little afraid to wear this at first, since it used to be that the only young mistresses were permitted to wear fine clothes like this. When I first visited the instructor back then, I always had to wait by the window for the young mistresses' classes to end. I always wanted to wear clothes the way they did and attend school like them. I think she'd lived during a different time period. And then they kind of all like came here. I don't know. Not to mention the lengths of the young mistresses and I were forced to go to after that earthquake. It was terrible. In a departure from her usual restrained demeanor, Tama had begun to speak in a higher pitched voice. She was clearly quite excited. So, excuse me. That's why I'm so happy nowadays. My classmates are so kind to me, and I even get to wear such fine clothes as these. Young mistress, And what does she mean exactly by not being able to wear just fine clothes? Just what is Ibuki talking about? Ijo, where did you live before you came to school here? Over in Yokohama. What? Yokohama? Wait, what did you say about an earthquake? And about your clothes, could it be? How could that be possible? Jesus. Wow, anyways, the sound scared me. Someone suddenly shouted from the classroom door. Ron turned her head and saw a female student with her hands in her pocket, quickly stepping towards the blackboard. The female student grinned. She seemed quite interested in Ron. So what's your name? Are you a transfer student? And when did you get here? Ron immediately noticed an embroidered crest on her uniform's vest. It clearly had been sewn on after the fact rather than being a crest on the school itself. Before she could answer though, another student entered the classroom. What is it, Aya? Did something? As soon as the latest arrival saw Ron, the smile on her face fell away immediately. Who are you? Why would there be anyone here other than ourselves? The female student who'd been addressed as Aya was circling Ron and scrutinized her from head to toe. These two have different uniforms as well, though they are relatively more modern, with quite the unified design language, no less. I'm Ron Ibuki. I found my way here after I got lost. Good morning, Tama-chan? Lost? The second of the female students frowned her brow a bit, staring at Ron. Good. Oh, I see. It's like side conversations. And the upper right. The newest feature will be indented further than the others and it's super. Okay, got it. If you missed the conversation, you can always check the logos. Okay, nice. But we're in the mountains and tunnel roads have been closed off. How did you get so lost that you went somewhere like this? Are you on duty today? Uh-huh. I see. There's almost side conversations. Switcher's female student who wouldn't stop asking incisive questions seemed rather displeased. Ron, on the other hand, felt her mood brighten up a little. The student in the tuxedo student was the first person in the school to ask why I appeared here at all. Still, if I tell us I don't know what's going on either, it'll just make her more suspicious of me. It might even impede my ability to converse with other students. My best hope for now is to just blunder through and talk to her again once I've understood her a little better. I don't know why, but I have a feeling she's going to be very helpful to me in the future. Is she? I don't get that feeling. I don't remember either. I just know that I came to this area to look for someone, and then before I realized You haven't actually answered my question, have you? Are you hiding something? Okay, Miho, you can stop bothering the new girl now. A student named Aya put both her hands on Ron's shoulder, looking quite pleased. It's your friend's a new student. Try your best to get along with her. You go by Ron-chan, right? I'm Aya Toyoma. Aya Toyoma. I love all the sketches, they're so cute. Even though I know she's calling me Ibuki in Japanese, it sounds so awkward in Chinese. And the rude cute one over there is Miho Taiki. Ah yes, I just keep her distance from her. Miho. She looks so grumpy. After dropping that parting shot, Miho retreated back to her own desk as though she lost all interest in participating in a conversation related to Ron. Don't worry, Ron-chan, Miho's always talks like that, but I know the truth. She's very happy that we got a new classmate in our school as well. Not in the slightest. You answer that way too fast. What's even up with these two? Are they doing a bit? Though Tomoyo's got a choke on her neck, she seems like she's got rather peculiar taste. Let's ask her about the crest. So did you embroider the crest on your uniform yourself? You're asking for the crust, but you've been staring at my choker the entire time. That's what you're really curious about, isn't it? I pointed to the star spangled dangling from her choker from her neck. Because you were insincere, I'm not going to tell you this time. Ask again later. What? Well, that's not fair. I mean, how the hell are you supposed to start a conversation off by asking about a choker? Oh well, it's not important, I guess. Let's just ask her what she thinks about the tunnel instead. Look, to me, I can't afford to stay here too long. If there's any way out of here other than the collapsed tunnel, please let me know about it. Ways out, huh? Even though I also like for you to leave as quickly as possible, there really are no other ways out. That said, are you implying you need to flee for some reason? You completed whatever Narfield mission it was that you infiltrated the school for, so now you're getting ready to flee? You're being overly dramatic. I'm really an annoying high schooler who got lost, alright? Mia turned away once again and began pulling textbooks out from her desk. I, on the other hand, deposited her head into Ron's shoulder, facing Mia, and whispered, "Isn't she just a shy kitten? She's adorable, right? So try not to let her rile you up, and do your best to get along, Ron-chan." I'll try, even though I'm more of a dog person, really. As far as the school's concerned, I think Yuro's the only cat it needs, so I guess she's more of a feral cat, whereas Tucky is closer to a house cat. Oh my god. I just started giggling at Ron's words. She gave Ron a few pats on the shoulder and then bounced back to Mia's side, where the two of them started chatting about other things. Ron shrugged, folded up the rag, and headed towards the storage cabinet in the back of the classroom. Thank you for helping me, Ibuki-san. No need to thank me. This place is immaculately clean, honestly. I barely even had anything to do. Who's the teacher? Tama-chan. Finished your daily duties? Asakura. After hearing Asakura's voice, Tama ran over back to the door immediately. Ron returned the rag to the storage cabinet and looked towards Tama and Asakura. And then, so in this extended pet metaphor, Yuna's so happy that I suppose she's the owner. I imagine if Indu had a tail, she'd be wagging it by now. Tama and Asakura didn't chat for long. Tama lifted a hand and gestured at Ron. Asakura's eyes widened upon seeing Ron. She bent down and whispered a few word things to Tama. Tama nodded in response, and Asakura laughed before approaching Ron. I wasn't going to see any strangers in the school. Asakura held her hand out for Ron to shake. I'm Pako Akasar. Your name's Ron Ibuki, correct? Why is her eye... Why is she not facing her completely in the notebook? That's right, I'm Ron, the Lost Wanderer. The math one was so hard. Help me. She was Asuka who responds for maintenance. She looks like the no-nonsense type. Oh, seems like you're a pretty interesting person. Though you might feel a little lost at first having just arrived, you'll find that everyone here is quite nice. You definitely won't find yourself bored. Everyone's indeed been quite friendly, such as Takia, for instance. Oh. What happens when you use temporary points? I forgot. What I need? Charisma, right? Wait, go back. I don't think I have enough charisma. How do you gain more, though? Because I think my charisma's at... What's my charisma at? No. Notes. Menu. Recall log. Terms. Recollection. Okay. Don't I have my... What? Next page. Okay. Oh, I thought I would have, like, my numbers again on the thing, but I guess I don't. no. Okay, that's weird. I guess charisma. I think I only have 5. Oh. A charisma +1, 7. Tama mentioned to me that she used to text me every morning, ask her if she always excited whenever she brings you up. Mother nodded, her eyes fitting over to Tama, who was in the middle of a conversation with Miho. So I'm assuming everyone's dating each other, or everyone has a crush on each other. Almost at the exact moment she looked over, Tama looked up and waved back as well. Well, there's always a new text from her, sending my photo first thing in the morning after all, so of course I sent her a reply. Ann Sakura waved back to Tama as she continued speaking. Let's talk about you first for now. There's not much going on with me that's worth talking about. Oscar, I still have something very important to do and can't afford to stay here. Do you know where the nearest station is? Maria folded her arms in front of her chest and thought for some moments before speaking. If you head west on the path that leads out of the school gate, you'll reach a tunnel eventually. If you go through that, you'll find a station pretty quickly. But certain events have caused the tunnel to become blocked, so you're probably out of luck there. I don't know when those some people can handle the situation either. Even someone like me, who's in charge of maintenance at the school, can't do anything about that tunnel. So Asuka started giggling to her for some reason. But I didn't see what was so funny though. Though if you're not planning to check it out for yourself, you should pick a later date. On the way here, I noticed the sky has been darkening. I imagine it's going to rain pretty soon. Ron nodded in response. All the students seem to share the same attitude when it comes to collapsed tunnel. Nobody seems concerned at all, even though it's such a major hazard. Yeah, I think that's the same thing, whereas like they just don't care. Like, why don't they care? Like, I feel like I would be terrified. You said you had something to do before though. What did you mean by that? Ron blinked. She hadn't expected Oscar would want to revisit what Ron had mentioned a few minutes ago. After answering Ron's questions, my girlfriend's missing. I'm looking for her. Girlfriend? Rosa raised her brow with deliberation. Very well then, if you run into any problems at school, don't hesitate to give me a call. Mara waved goodbye to Ron and then took a seat with Tama. Oscar and I looked like mother and child next to each other. Ron saying everyone else returned to their seats, headed for an empty desk near the classroom door as well. She sat down on her desk and took her phone out. The screen indicated that it was currently 6:52. She originally just wanted to burn spare time before the rest of the students arrived in the classroom to start their morning meeting. But once she saw her lover's photo, Ron gave a deep sigh and slumped onto the desk. The noises of the other students' conversation around her faded into white noise as Ron remembered the time she spent alone with her lover in their classroom. Don't think about these things for now. Just focus on what's in front of you. Good morning, everyone. A familiar voice came from above. Ron slowly turned her head and saw a new face. So counting this girl, I've seen 6 people for now. Just missing the last one. You're? Why is a stranger here? Feels like I've heard that responsibility in times today by now. Good morning, my name is Ibuki, and I got lost here and arrived here by accident. Lost? Here? How could that be? The girl seemed somewhat panicked and looked towards the rest of her class for support. I flashed a big okay sign with her both hands. Don't worry, Paz, Vanchan is a good classmate. Well, except for how she's an extreme suspicious outsider and all. Wait, give me a moment to calm down. The class president laid a hand on her chest and took a couple of deep breaths before straightening herself and spoke. Ron-chan, it's nice to meet you. My name's Kazumi Hinata. Hinata? Huh. I'm the class president and I'd like you to formally welcome you to our class. Thanks, but my name is Ron, not Ron-chan. Look, Miss President, I'm just trying to figure how to get myself out of here. I don't plan on joining your class, and besides, I'm not even from here in the first place. Do you know a way how to get out of here, class president? It's unfortunate, but the only path out of here is a tunnel, and it can't be used at the moment. Heard that 1 billion times as well today. Okay, so do you know when it might be fixed then? I I don't know either, but it won't have any effect on our life here at school, so you don't need to worry about that at all. She's like, she doesn't want to be here though. Come on, let's get you up at the front of the classroom so you can introduce yourself. Why? No, Pez, I'm not a transfer student. Go on, Ibuki, I thought you'd like to run your mouth. Slide into the classroom from the rear entrance and took a seat in the second furthest row from the class, still carrying a bag in her hands. Urinal. Ron realized that everyone in the class was looking at her now, with Kazumi's expression being particularly enthusiastic. If I keep refusing, it'll make my presence here awkward. There's no need for me to push back against all of them at the same time. I wonder if you would have picked at this moment to show up on purpose, though. Alright then, as you wish, President. Kazumi looked quite pleased, and without even setting in her own school bag down first, grabbed Ron and started to pull her towards the lectern. She moved too quickly and inadvertently tripped over the corners of the lectern, and at the moment Ron, I think reached towards the class president. Class president. Ron reached out, trying to catch Kazumi, but she was one step too slow. Kazumi supported herself with one hand on the blackboard and the other hand clinging onto the closest desk, and managed not to fall at all. Class president, are you alright? The other students in the class rose about wanting to confirm that Kazumi hadn't hurt herself. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern, everyone. Kazumi pushed herself up and adjusted her hair for a moment before making a shallow bow to everyone. My apologies. I made a laughing stock for myself before all of you. First time I've ever seen laughing stock in an everyday conversation. Please proceed with your self-introduction, Ibuki. Sure, try to be more colorful, class president. Ron stood up the lectern and swept her gaze over all the students in the classroom. President, should I start from my introduction now? Are we missing someone? That's right, she hasn't arrived yet. The class president seems a bit strange. Sakura hasn't shown up yet, but she woke up even earlier than I did this morning. I have thought someone with the same name as Miss Sakura. Now I'm worried about meeting them. Now, have you forgotten? You spoke lightly with her friends to were and stapled. We picked lots yesterday. It's possible she's a victim this time around. Victim? Ron ruminated the strange phase, one in which weren't supposed to show up in a regular conversation between high school students. What are they talking about? If Miss Sakura was the victim, then she might already be dead, right? Wait. Do they just pick a victim every, once in a while? And is that why all the students, slowly die? What? Dead? Ron let out a small shriek. Gosh, that's Ron's killer. Just got right to work. What are you all talking about? Then according to the rules, we've got to cancel morning classes and skip right to the coursework. As soon as I's finished speaking, she picked up her bags and left her seat. Ron looked about in bewilderment, hoping someone would explain things to her, but the others were also cleaning up their things and getting ready to leave. Oh my god, what's happening? I saw Sakura earlier this morning while swimming. It's possible their course is somewhere around there. Let's go in. Hold on. Ron couldn't stand the growing stress in her heart anymore. She felt like she was going to explode from pressure if she didn't do something about it. Just what are you trying to say? That person who didn't show up, you called her Sakura? Ron couldn't breathe, and she couldn't say the name. Is it her girlfriend? She lost control of her heartbeat again and clenched her fist until her fingernails pierced the skin of her palm to forcefully regain control over her emotions. Ron had taken several deep breaths before she was able to speak normally again. The person who hasn't shown up yet. What did you say happened to her? Kazumi approached Ron, seemingly rather concerned about Ron's sudden irregular behavior. What's wrong, Biki-san? Are you feeling unwell? Forget that. Answer me. Oh my god, her sprite is so gloomy and scary. Ron's outburst suddenly stunned Kazumi slightly, who froze up without giving her an answer. Mio, seeing the situation, intervened quickly and spoke. It's as I said, the person who hadn't shown up yet most likely already have been killed. And the killer is one of the 6 of us. What? Huh? What? What? Wait, is it like mafia where one person kills the other? Hearing these words, Ron's brows she looked at everyone in the room, trying to divine from their expressions if this was some practical joke they were all playing on her to no avail. The stress that immediately came upon her afterwards pushed her to half her knees, and she was forced to lean on the wall for support as she broke out into sweat again. She felt the urge to dry heave, a sign that her illness was about to act up again, but she didn't want to reveal the symptoms to anyone in the room, or in this room. An image of a torn sheet of paper flashed through her mind once again. You're saying that you've killed someone? Well, we've already said it a bunch of times, haven't we? Yes, one of our classmates have been killed by someone in this class. They once again confirmed the truth of this bizarre situation. What's going on? What the F? Oh, oops. Ah! What the F? I pressed it twice. But by this point, as soon as had encircled Ron, who's squatting on the floor, they were all looking at her. But Ron, the subject of their gaze, was afraid to look up at him for fear that she's seen that their faces had already begun to melt. Ibuki, why are you freaking out? Why should I not be freaking out? Ron is quietly hyperventilating. Forget seeing the corpse. Just a nonchalant attitude and the way you're all talking about something like this is enough to make me want to panic like a crab in a deep fryer. I sure ain't seen a crab like that can crack a joke like that after it's been thrown in the fryer. Ron used the pivot of her vision to seek Sai's face. It didn't look like there were any irregularities. She relaxed slightly at that and slowly raised her head to look at the other students. You don't look like you're putting up an act. Mia bent down and gently stroked Rand's back. I'm just also filling the role of school nurse. Here, let me take a look at you. No, I think the missing person is the one who needs your attention right now. Why? If she's dead? Mia chuckled a little. You're absolutely right. If you think there's something wrong with yourself, then stand up and come along and let's go find her corpse together. Mia offered her hand for Ron to take, and as she slowly turned to speak to Sai. Your own son, lead the way if you will. Sure thing. Fair warning though, I don't know if her corpse is actually there. All I know is that I saw her hanging around there while I was swimming. Mia pulled Ron to her feet and then nodded at Sai. I think it's quite likely that's the place then. After all, Anne hardly ever visits a swimming pool. That's true. I've never seen Anne go swimming out of her own violation, so she might as well have met her killer there before getting killed. Then we should get going quickly. It'd be pitiful to leave Anne there all by herself for too long. We should deal with it sooner rather than later, so she can be at peace, right? Just as the three of them finished speaking, a loud noise came from the direction of the lectern. Ron, who managed to get to her feet, has once again fallen to her knees. Trembling over, she seized Miho's wrist with both her hands. She stared at her with such intensity that even the normal, unflappable Miho was startled, flinching backwards instinctively. The person who didn't come, the one you said might have been killed, what was their name? Mio seemed like she was suppressing her own disordered thoughts to keep herself calm. She turned her wrist and grabbed Ron's hand, trying to pull her off the ground. Ron's tight grasp had almost caused Mio to collapse instead. Answer me. What was her name? What's up with you? Alright, I really don't know why he's asked us down, but the name of the person we've been talking about is Ann Sakura. It's her girlfriend? What a coincidence. Ibuki has always liked the rain. She especially loved it when it started storming without warning. Watching strangers outside her window scrambling around for shelter while she hid safely at home gave her an indescribable sense of security. What the fuck? When she told Anne about this, her love asked her, "But how would you feel it if I were the one trapped in the ring?" How did he answer her back then? Ron trailed behind everyone else as they headed towards the place where Sai said she had last seen Anne. She didn't say a word, and only occasionally looked up towards the sky, watching dark clouds slowly converge. If Sakura-san knew she might get killed, why would she go over there at all in the first place? She's always been pretty cooperative with her killers. She never put as much of a fight whenever I was supposed to kill her either. The students ahead of her all seemed quite at ease. They spent the whole trip discussing Anne and the murder with each other. Oh, that's true. Whenever it's Anne's turn to be the victim, the culture always tends to strike quickly. Now hang on. You shouldn't let yourself get swallowed just because Anne is so easy to work with. If we keep relying on her cooperation, then we'll have to change the rules eventually. Shouldn't we just focus on who the culprit is first anyways? If she really did die in the swimming pool, then wouldn't that make me the prime suspect? Does that make your son the culprit then? Let me tell you, it's not a bad thing to be so straightforward, but you're not going to find the answers that way. Hey, it's not like she's not completely straightforward. Tama freely surprised all of us with the things she chooses to do. Isn't that right, Tama? Tama shook her head fiercely. I just picked up a few things on my books is all, because I haven't had the chance to read often and despite knowing my methods, Asako never exposed me before. Well, we did read those books together after all. Listening to students' conversation, Ron began to scratch her scalp again, but it didn't stop the pressure rising from in her. Hey, are you okay? So I think it's a game that the students play then, right? Because she says multiple times being the killer. So are they really dead? Or do they revive themselves? That's kind of weird. So slowly in her steps, Mio came to Ron's side. No, I'm fine. Shouldn't you be happy that I'm suffering anyways? I thought you hated me. Ron turned her head away, not wanting to speak to Miho. You're making me sound like some kind of psychopath. I don't hate you. I just wanted to know why you showed up here at our school. Miho tilted her head slightly and inspected Ron's face carefully. Pale face, trembling lips, pupil dilation, pretty unnatural too. Heavy headache? A bit. Miho pressed her hand against Ron's forehead for a moment. Well, at least there's no fever. Alright, I can probably imagine what you're thinking. You knew Anne previously, didn't you? I could tell from the uniform. The other students should have noticed as well. So once you've heard she's been killed, you were able to wrap your mind around the idea, which is why you're in your present condition. The first time we all went through this, we all had pretty much the same reaction as you did, but once we got used to it, we found that it wasn't a big deal after all. As soon as Miho stopped speaking, Ron seized Miho's shoulder with a sudden hand, noticing that something wasn't right. The others stopped that as well. Got used to what? Murdering your own classmates or discussing this decisive mockery? Just explain to me, why do you have to do things like this? You really committed murder? Don't be so quick to judge things you don't understand, Ibuki. Well, make me understand then, damn it. Explain what exactly it is you've done clearly. Ron felt Miho pressing her hands onto Ron, so she turned her head and met Miho's eyes. Ibuki-san, please come down. Let's find Anne's corpse first, and we'll explain everything to you properly. Right now, even if we try to tell you everything, you still have a hard time comprehending it. But if you see the corpse, I'm sure you'll understand as well. Ron's hand trembled, and she shook her head helplessly. How could I possibly understand? Ron let go of Miho. Now it was Miho's turn to take a hold of Ron's shoulder. Let's go. Don't worry, because Sakura-san will be okay. Thanks to Tama's supportive words, Ron had no idea how she was supposed to respond. She could only force out the barest of grimaces. So I think it's like a fake death, right? It can't be a real death. Akasura-san, will the swimming pool freeze this year as well? Yeah, the temperature's already gotten pretty low. It'll probably freeze over very soon. But you should probably consider less time swimming too. If you get a cramp in the swimming pool during the winter, it definitely won't jump in to save you. It's not like I've ever seen you here when it wasn't winter. Plus I'm used to it already. It'll be fine. used to it. Oh, once it snows again, we can build snowmen in the courtyard again. Let's build a chibi Miho in the summer together, Sai-chan. Huh? Are you bringing that back up in purpose? Oh, right. That one time Sai-chan got killed, they hid your corpse in the snowman, didn't they? Almost scared me to death when I shoveled the snow that day. Haha. All I can say that is Tama for you. Always exceeding our expectations. Don't. Tama's embarrassed expression made everyone cracked up. What in the hell? We're almost there. See the old shower room hint? I saw Sakura go in there this morning. Ron looked for her head, looking where Sai was pointing. Ibn found it odd at the time since I only ever use a new shower room on the other end myself. The old showers are much less convenient. So that's where Miss Sakura is right now? Ron took a few steps forward, eyes glued onto the shower. Ibuki-san? Ron rushed over to the shower and pushed me, who was standing in front of her, out of the way with one hand. Ibuki-san. Ron's footsteps grew faster and faster. She knocked Sai's shoulder out of the way as she charged forward. Ron rushed into the shower that Sai indicated, clutching the frame of the door. She saw the girl leaning against the wall before her. Ron pulled her shoulders in, not sure where she should put her hands. She felt her arms musing in the air, as though she forgot how to control her own body. Finally, she brought her hands before her own face, letting her fingers wander up and down her face like kutusu? What's that? Ron pried her mouth open with her hands and finally let out a shriek. Without question, the corpse in front of her was the love of her life, Ann Sakura. Damn. Is that... Wow. Jesus. There was a horizontal cut in the woman's abdomen that would split the muscles and expose blood vessels and vertebrae in the air. That's pretty gruesome. Massive amounts of blood gushed forth from the wound, staining the collar of her shirt and continuing downwards to cover Ansa's back outerwear in bloodstains. Looking up, Ron saw that Anne's long locks of hair splattered with blood, and in that moment she could only think of how she ought to put the locks into her own mouth so that she could suck out the blood out. Oh my god. Anne always hated it when her hair got dirty after all. All I could think of was how she had to get her hair clean of me. Anne will surely be disconsolate about it later. So she slowly couldn't restore Ron's composure to her as she slowly looked downwards. There's a slight tilt in the old shower's room, which caused the blood to flow towards the right, but now it converged into a river. Blood poured over the drainage grate, slowly dripping drop by drop into the showery drain. In that moment, the sound of the dripping slammed itself into Ron's sanity over and over like a sledgehammer. Oh, whoops. Ron fell to her knees. She barely managed to catch herself with her elbows, bringing her into contact with the still flowing blood. Looking down, she saw her newly red stance coat immediately arced her back and started tearing fiercely into her own scalp. Nails scrapped against her skin, letting out a spine-chilling sound reminiscent of flesh being torn. Interspersed into it all was Ron's on and off weeping. Sakura. Ugh. Ron's hair clawed even harder. Already there were traces of blood and skin scuff under her fingernails. She felt like she was dangling on a spider's thread. That thread itself, the only thing keeping her from losing her mind to hell. And the thing that cast the thread in the first place was the mockery that the others had made of murder with their playful words. Ibuki-san. Mio seized Ron from behind. What are you doing? Miss Sakura's blood. I'm telling you, Ann's fine. You're the one who's really scaring me right now. Miho helped her up, but Ron immediately lost her balance and collapsed onto Miho's back. Can't stand up? Miho held Ron's waist with her left hand and gently pat her back with the right. Ron shook her head and her whole body powerless, but then she suddenly woke and seized the collar of Miho's uniform with a trembling hand. Which one of you six killed her? Who was it? Tell me. Please, just calm down and let us explain. Listen to you. I've been looking for her for so long, and I finally managed to see her again. So why did you have to be like, so why did it have to be like this? Why did it have to be like this? Ron slowly released her grip on Miko's shirt as she wept, unintelligibly. Miko didn't get angry with Ron's actions at all. She continued gently stroking Ron's back, trying to reassure her. She whispered quietly into Ron's ear, "If Anna's not dead, she'll come back to us." Ron shook her head fiercely. "I don't understand. I don't understand a word what you're saying. Don't keep making me..." Soon the other students arrived on the scene as well. "Oh, yep. Corpse drawer is right there. I guess I am the really prime suspect then. Since it's near the swimming pool, let's presume you're the killer for now and start investigating. I swear, Asakura." "Then let's hurry and begin. Let's solve the case quickly and wake Sakura-san back up so that we can cheer Ibuki-san back up again too." Kazumi headed over to Anne's body and bent down, preparing to touch her. "Don't touch her." Ron's reaction startled Kazumi, who pulled her hand back immediately and left her into a stiff pose, as though she's misbehaving student who told her to stand in the corner and think about what she's done wrong. Ron pushed Miho away and quickly stepped into front of Sai. "I am done trying to understand what the hell you lot are saying, but you said people who die here can still come back to life, right? Tell me what I have to do." Wow, I mean, I think you have to solve the mystery. Even though Ron's emotions had been heavily perturbed by the stance of Anne's corpse, she was very aware that her rationale hadn't been completely shut down yet. She remembered that everyone in the scene had either directly or indirectly mentioned this complete incomprehensible idea that the dead ultimately reawaken. And based on their attitude to them, killing the classmates and reviving the dead was completely commonplace and mundane at this point. If Ron hadn't noticed those things, she would have long since completely lost her sanity at Anne's death and allowed her condition to consume her. In fact, curiosity would have driven Ron to verify their outlandish claims had the victim here been anyone other than Anne. Basically, what you need to do is identify the culprit and recount the steps she took to commit the murder. If you account everything correctly, Sakura will come back to life. How does the revival work? I can't imagine such a thing. First, the wounds mend and the blood regenerates, and last of all, the heart begins to beat again. Before this, well, there was one time the culture cut off all our limbs of the victims and hid them in different locations all over the schools. They even cut open the victims' abdomens to expose their internal organs. Sai's expression grew complex and shrugged before continuing. We got to see for ourselves the full process of the victim's revival that time. So trust me, with such relative light rounds as these, Sakura won't take more than a few seconds to come back to life. Ron covered her mouth as she imagined the scene that Sai had described. The kind of revival she's talking about is the type that restores the existing body while retaining the souls of the deceased. That means it can't be the golem delivery service. They construct entirely new bodies for the dead without retaining the soul. Could it be Mr. Blood Sculptor? I remember that one could repair corpses by causing wounds to grow new tissue. Forget the girlfriend. Ibuki's gone mute again. The blood sculpture requires massive amount of available blood on hand, though I don't think if it has power to preserve a soul. I've never seen it operate on a corpse either. Where does she have all this information? There's probably others anomalies to raise survival. No, most of those involve retrieving the dead from elsewhere altogether, leaving the corpse original where it lies. So it seems to happen whenever she's thinking about something. Asakura sometimes goes quite quiet when she gets serious face too. I can't imagine what kind of power it takes to enact the arrival of the original course itself. In fact, with what conditions of resurrection for such bizarres as these, perhaps it's not the passive mechanism, but rather another conscious entity actively deciding whether the dead should be revived or not. Damn, I can't figure it out. If only Lady Inharu is here, she'd surely be able to answer this instantly. Who are you? Who is that? How come you keep going mute mode like that? Yeah, like, who is she? Like, why does she know all this stuff? And what has she done in the past before? Because she's always said that she was in, like, really bizarre situations before. So I'm kind of like, What? And how long has Sakura been here? Because she said she was missing for like 4 years, right? Ron stiffled and bit and forcefully wiped her tears away, or away her tears. Her eyes were still a little red from crying. I understand. I was going to find the culprit anyways, no matter what. And if this thing can bring Miss Sakura back to life, then all the better. And what that happens, I will take Miss Sakura away from this place. How are you going to do that? Well, you have to ask her permission for that. But I guess that's none of our business. Of course Miss Sakura will agree. After all, she's my girlfriend. Girlfriend? Is that true? That's the first that I've heard of it. Anne never mentioned to you. You Butas before. Never mentioned me. What? Forget it. I can figure that out later. Maybe she doesn't like you. Ron turned and approached Anne's corpse. She kneeled down and brushed his hands away from Anne's face so that she could see it more clearly. The face she saw for so long made Ron's heartbeat almost stop for a moment. And she wanted to do nothing more than to pick up Anne and give her a deep kiss. Oh my god, please, no. But Anne's bloodless face and stench of blood all around them forced her to remain calm. Please just endure a little bit longer. I'll find the truth. No matter what the cause is, I now have been forced to participate in what they consider ordinary, everyday life. Oops. I have to keep my wits about me at all times. If I let myself believe, like they do, that all of this is completely normal, then it's possible that I'll never be able to get out of here. Miss Sakura, you have to wake up, please. I'm nothing without you. I think you should rely on yourself and not be so dependent on her. You have to let's let Ibuki handle the coursework this time. Sure. How did it only seem now to regain the wits she lost when Ron had braided her? She nodded her head in a panic, agreeing with Miho's statement. Let's do as Saki suggested. This will help Ibuki understand the coursework at school more quickly as well. What's coursework supposed to mean? I don't know if you noticed or not, but on our syllabus, we only have classes in the morning, every afternoon, with every afternoon marked as free activities. This organization is what we refer to when we say free activities. Consider this part of our coursework as well. Under normal circumstances, we compete with each other, but this time we'll let you handle it by yourself. We'll give you all the help you need. Wait, what? Feel free. All I want to do is find the killer. You people's rules are your own business. They're helping you. I guess like one of them is the killer. Ron took deep breaths, letting the stench of blood and the pool disinfectant scents mix together, and flow carried by her inhalation into her brain. It was like she injected a stimulant directly into her skull, and it slew each of her uncontrollable trains of thought. Ron had to return to her normal state. Then let's begin investigating the crime scene. Okay. The old showers. Anne's corpse. Ron kneeled next to Anne's corpse and brushed away the hair that covered her neck. Few strands of torn muscle dangled in her bloody wound. The skin draped atop it was limp like a ragged cloth. Ron approached the wound for a closer inspection. The cut is extremely deep, reaching all the way to the depths of the creval fascia. The most direct cause of death was most likely exerted from severing of the neck veins and arteries. Though, as the windpipe has been severed as well, it's possible that Miss Sakura had already died as of before exacting reached fatal levels. That must be a pretty deep cut. Miss Sakura's left hand showed no stains of blood on the palm side, and her right hand only at the fingertips, and even that probably because it was dangling in the blood puddle on the floor. So she didn't really clutch at her throat when it was cut at all, or she's holding something that made her incapable of reacting immediately. Why? Why would you do that? After a moment of hesitation, Ron used her right hand to peel the wound on Ann Sakura's neck open slightly. A separation of flesh and blood made a slight, faint, but gruesome squelch. Blood trickled on Ron's pointer finger, trickling her slightly. The vertebrae has been severely severed, since of course none of the students have hair seemed strong enough to cleave through both the vertebrae column and the attached muscle of the neck in a single blow. Ron stretched her neck out to observe in detail. She knows that several small cuts have been left on the vertebrae. I see. It was a single precise strike that severed the superficial neck like this. When the culprit attacked, the weapon had been blocked by the vertebrae. Afterwards, they must apply multiple cuts to expand the wound to such a startling degree. That's all the clues that the wounds can provide. Let's see if there's any other clues. Okay. What else can I look at? Her bag? Ren scanned the area, confirming the situation again. Besides the hairs around the corpse, there's no unnatural blood stains. Miss Sakura's blood samples show any indication that her corpse was dragged anywhere, so this should be the original scene of the crime. But there is an abnormal amount of blood at the scene of the crime, unless Miss Sakura didn't die quickly after her neck was cut, allowing her heart to continue pumping blood. But with a wound like this, death ought to have been extremely fast. Ron shook her head, stooped down, and opened Sakura's bag. The handbag was clearly have been moved. Miss Sakura should have been carrying it on her shoulder, or at least in her hand. When she was attacked, she stepped back and hit the wall before collapsing. The bag should not have appeared here. The bloodstains wouldn't have looked like this either. Did the killer take anything out of it? A notebook? Some stationery? That's all that was in this bag, and the stationery didn't look like the kind Miss Sakura usually favors either. Well, people change. It's been for like a couple years, right? And Christina searched over the handbag, but she didn't find what she was looking for. Strange. What is she looking for? Like a freaking photo of her or something? She put down her handbag and began rifling through the pockets of Ann's jacket and dress. Not here either. Miss Sakura didn't carry her phone with her? President, does Miss Sakura keep her phone with her unusually? Kokomi seemed to skip a beat before answering. We keep our phones on ourselves usually. Otherwise, we might not be able to call each other if we got in trouble. Does Miss Sakura ever forget to bring her phone with her? I doubt it. Anne's very consistent. I've never seen her make a mistake. She's the kind of girl who could brush her teeth without spilling a single drop of water. Pretty sure you're the only person in the whole class who can't. Back on topic, though. I don't think Anne would have forgotten to bring it. Were you looking for her phone just now? Yep. It's fine. I get it. Let's leave it at that. Are there any other clues? I feel like she's looking for her phone to see if her picture's on there. Is there anything else? I think that's it. Nope. Mizui seemed very practiced at this. Thomas put in a high voice to Makoto. Maybe she's watched many police procedurals. Police procedurals? I mentioned back when she showed up in class, no matter how you looked at her, her claims that she got here but lost are highly suspicious, not to mention how she says that she's just an ordinary high schooler. Mio paused a bit, looking at Ron's silhouette back before continuing. Perhaps Ibuki's son has reason to keep her secrets after all. Ron stood up and approached the other students who were whispering among themselves. I finished investigating the course and picked up a few clues, but I'm not a quarter and I can't determine the time of death. Take you said you were the school nurse here, right? Can you perform an autopsy? What do you think? Ron shrugged. Well, the way you acted so clever about this. I figure you have the whole procedure in place for this by now. Looks like you recovered quite well if you got this bear and you just snark at us. I'm serious about wanting to know if there's anyone among you can perform a corpse autopsy. The time of death of the victims connects to the window of opportunity for the culprit to act, and thus to all of our alibis. Knowing it would be helpful for eliminating suspects. Wow, she does sound like she's on a cop drama. I was too embarrassed to talk like that the first time I investigated. Ron-chan is sure incredible. Aya seems so excited she's practically about to clap. Now it's all your turn to make fun of me, huh? Otherwise, right now, the only time we have is Nora's testimony about when she last saw Miss Sakura. If she's not lying, Miss Sakura's killed someone you're gonna saw her and when the president reached the classroom. I'm not lying. If I were lying, I'd just not say anything about seeing Miss Sakura this morning at all. After all, right now, it looks like my testimony is the only way you have for determining when Miss Sakura was killed. We don't know that for sure. If you killed Miss Sakura far earlier than that, then it might serve you time to lie about seeing her alive, when in fact she was already dead by that point. Though the blood has yet completely dried, so if there was some error in that timing, it probably isn't that far off. Could have been anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour earlier, though. Sally lifted her eyebrow, not as though she's been enlightened. If we're just talking about hypotheticals, then sure, I guess. No matter what, her death couldn't have happened any earlier than that. So let's start from the assumption that Zoro's not lying and start eliminating possibilities. Kazumi nodded, looking happy that Ron was fitting so well into the group's normal dynamic. Go ahead, Ibuki, I'll cooperate with you. President, what is it? You realize the most suspicious right now are Yuno, who was at the swimming pool, and you, who arrived the latest in class besides her. Huh? Is that so? Oh, I get it, because I read late in class I had more time than anyone else to kill Sakura, plus I'm in the same dormitory as she is. Correct. Then besides the fact that I could not possibly kill Sakura both by temperance and motives, the person least suspicious is me and Indu, who brought me to class this morning. But considering the possibility that Indu and Yuro could have been working together, I can't eliminate her as a suspect entirely. Working together. Would the culprit we drew this time really look for accomplice to help her? You drew the culprit? What kind of rule is that? Let me explain. Put simply, the culprit and victim are all drawn via lots. Of course, besides the murderer, nobody knows who drew the victim lot. We can explain this in more detail afterwards. It's not relevant to your investigation at the moment. For now, just note that though an accomplished situation isn't very likely, it can't be ruled out. There's so many bizarre worlds. Do they treat this kind of thing as a game? Then in that case, you're not free of suspicion either. Since you and Tommy arrived at class together, you can't provide alibis for each other anymore. Finally, we have Asakura. She's less suspicious than class present, but not so by much. So therefore, we can't trivialize this just by excluding those alibis. It's true that you can indeed confirm the identity of the culprit with a method like this sometimes. However, remember that you should also have to accurately count the culprit's methods before Ann's resurrection can take place. I know. Hear me say the words resurrection again. Ron realized that once more what she was trying to do could only be described by utter ridiculousness. But it was the only choice she had. So the key question is whether Yuno actually saw Miss Sakura, as well as what Miss Sakura came here for. I think all I can get out of the testimony now. Ron gently touched a notebook in her jacket pocket from the outside. Let's use a notebook. I got some idea, but I like to think for myself for a moment. I'll find somewhere quiet to get my thoughts in order. I'll leave Miss Sakura's corpse to you all. Wait, why don't you tell us what you're thinking so we can help discuss your ideas with you? Yeah, wouldn't it be better to think together? Ron stopped at the door and turned to look at Aya. Sure, maybe. But just how exactly you expect me to trust you all? Who do you think it is? I think... Ron looked a while to find a suitable place. Ultimately, she settled on a patch of grass outside the school building and sat down with her back to the schoolhouse wall. Please help me. It doesn't matter how much of your blood you want this time. Just find the correct recall point that will help save Miss Sakura. Ron extracted the notebook from her jacket. She caressed the cover and raised her head to let Anne touch the thumb of her face. She knew that Anne wasn't actually there, of course. It was just that each of her recalls were always preceded by the same hallucination that Anne was right there by her side. Hallucinations were her constant companions, of course, but it was always Anne's illusion that was strongest right before she performed a recall, to the point where she could almost smell the fragrance of her beloved's body. It was a warm scent, a fragrance that belonged only to Anne's body. Ron lowered her head, flipped to an empty page of the notebook, and pressed the 5 fingers of her right hand against the page. Let's begin. As soon as Ron spoke, it was as a switch has been flipped. Her fingertips heated up, and blood began to seep out the grooves of her fingertips. What the heck? Is she like making a contract with the devil or something? See, the instant the blood became coated with the paper, it absorbed into the pages like an appetizer. Like an appetizer, the first drop of blood had fully ignited the notebook's gluttony. Ron's fingers bled faster and faster. The red blessing spreaded, running across the page before being instantly absorbed. The more the notebook drank, the more insatiable it became. Blood flew from her fingers at an alarming speed, even making tiny splashes against the surfaces of the page. Oh my god, how much blood is she gonna give to the notebook? Finally, the rate of blood bleeding began to outpace the rate at which the notebook could absorb the blood, and the page began staining itself red. Hey, stop. Ren pulled her hand up away from the notebook, scattering a lingering crescent of blood onto the lawn in front of her. She wiped her fingers off on the pages quickly to get the remaining stains off. Naturally, her fingers remained unblemished as was usual. Look, I know I told you to drink as much as you wanted, but this is way too much. If you get drunk, who's gonna help me here? As the blood lingered on the page gradually absorbed, the notebook turned to its usual appearance, free of a single blood stain. Ron sighed. This should be enough, right? Ron flipped through the pages until she reached a recall tab. As she hoped, a new recall point had been formed. Special recalled. Special recalled. At the washstand when Sai was about to go to the swimming pool. I understand. So this is the meaning of the recall point you found this time. If I decide at the moment to go view or not, then I can see for myself whether or not Miss Sakura and determine each time frame of the incident. You've given me plenty of distinct recall points in the past, ones that I interpreted multiple times before I understood their meanings. But this time you've been quite precise. I guess you only want me to do everything you can help me to revive Miss Sakura, right? Alright, let's begin recalling. On recall mode. In branch recalls, you can recall to previously recall when a decision was made. In investigation results, you can call to previous regions that you investigated before. The bottom of the recall holds a new recall content that only appears when the victim has been confirmed. Special recalls allows you to find important clues to the current case to recall. After the clues have been found, you can terminate the recall section. Okay? So back, investigative recall. Oh, okay. So back. Oh no. So now we can go to special recall. At the washstand when Sai was about to go into the swimming pool. Alright, let's start from here. Tama raised herself to the tips of her toes as she spoke to open the washroom's mirror. She took out a toothbrush and sealed the package and handed it to Ron. By now, Sai was finished washing up. She gave Ron a pat on the shoulder and waved farewell to Tama before departing the dormitory steps. By this way, I'm going to the Academy Soccer in advance. What might that lead to? Even I really do run into her, I have to remember to retreat from the recall. I can't stay here for too long. Alright, let's begin. Ron recalled to Sai, stopping her in her tracks. Hold on, Yurno. What's the matter? Could I visit the swimming pool with you? I'd like to see what the swimming pool here looks like. Our pool is pretty much the same everywhere. So I was about to turn and depart, but perhaps upon noticing Tama's huge eyes were filled with ignorance, she suddenly changed her mind. Well, whatever. I feel bad for trying to fuss you off with Tama anyways. Come with me then. I guess my past self is thinking that Red Schoolhouse, which she already investigated the night before, the unexplored swimming pool is worth visiting more. That's why she's choosing to chit-chat with Sai. Yep, the recalls are as logical and reasonable as ever. That's reassuring. Hold on a moment. I'll be done dusting my teeth real soon. Ron quickly brushed. It didn't take her long to gargle and rinse. After that, she cleaned the cup and placed it back on the counter. Let's go. Alright, we'll be off then. Tama quickly bowed to the both of them. Very well, see you again, Yura and Ibuki-san. Well, here we are. So, ta-da! The pool, neat, huh? Aren't all pools pretty much the same everywhere? So I sat down, swiped at Ron with her swimsuit bag. You're the one who asked to see it, right? Alright, enough talk. Come with me to the changing room. Wait, you stepping to go swimming too? Of course, those who come to swim must be prepared for swimming. Look, even if you phrase it like it's some Deanna Deep quote or something, there's no way I'm going swimming. It's way too cold for it. Oh, come on, there's nothing to be afraid of. It'll be fine as long as you do warm-ups. Plus, I'll be by your side. So I pointed towards the Northfield buildings on the side of the pool as she spoke. There's some spare swimsuits in the shower. Should be one you can wear somewhere. The shower's over there, but the direction I was pointing was the exact opposite of the location where Ann Sakura's corpse would eventually be found. The shower's over there, then what's over there on the other end? Ron pointed towards the other end of the pool, where she thought the showers were located. Good thing I'm so perceptive when it comes to strange details as usual. If she hadn't asked, I'd have to ask Yorno again afterwards. That would have been awkward. Oh, those are the old showers over there. I basically never visit them. I mean, it's not like they don't work or anything, but there's no need to run all the way over there since we got newer showers right here. And those showers don't even have changing rooms. So according to this, she used the old showers before, or maybe she's speaking from experience. So I grabbed Ron's wrist and dragged her forward. Alright, come on, we got like an hour left before class meeting starts, so let's hurry up. Trust me, when you swim is the best way to energize yourself. You'll love it. Absolutely not, I'll freeze to death. So I suddenly started laughing and pulled Ron to her side, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. The first time I took my little sister into the water, she dug her heels in just like you. But after that, she hounded me to go swimming together with her every day. I'm sure it's going to be the same, exact same with you. It won't be the same. Your sister must surely have the same swimming DNA, just like you, whereas I, on the other hand, is purely a terrestrial organism. Oh, the way you make excuses is just like her too. Let's go. Don't. Thank goodness I didn't actually choose to come here with you at the time. After that, I tried to get Ron to take a long swim. Ron gave up after her first dip in the pool, declaring that she absolutely couldn't bear it anymore. So I forced her to give up and exit the pool. She really changed back into uniform before she sat down by the side of the pool and began tying her hair back with her hands while she soaked her feet in the water, waiting for Ron. Ron, on the other hand, was still shivering in the dressing room. Her movements were quite literally galactical. What's going on? Miss Sakura still hasn't shown up, and that's absolutely not worth it. Even if this was just a recall, I can viscerally feel exactly what the me that made a decision must be feeling right now. And to think that you don't imagine that I would get hooked on swimming with her after this. I'm never coming back to a swimming pool in the winter, not even if it kills me. Anyway, seriously, what's taking Miss Sakura so long? Was Yorno actually just lying? And I remember when she arrived in the classroom, it was almost 7:10, and now the clock in the dressing room showed that it was at 6:42. Well, it's still early. Maybe if I just wait a bit longer. Suddenly she heard a muffled sound of speech from outside the dressing rooms. Someone's here. I can't hear them clearly though. Is that Miss Sakura's voice? There's some distance in the swimming pool in here, and there's a door between us too. Not to mention how Yorno wouldn't stop splashing her feet in this pool. She's making too much noise. Maybe you should get out of the dressing room. Ron dressed herself, leaving only her jacket behind, but she suddenly noticed that her hair hadn't dried yet, so she picked up her towel and started wiping it off. Unfortunately, the noise and towel made her hair drown out the sounds of the conversation from the outside. Jesus. Why is that I can only experience my self-perception during a recall? If only I could control myself and step through this door, then I could see you again. Ron noticed the sound outside, but decided not to leave the dressing room. The present me is definitely thinking that there's no need to rush to see who is talking to, since I would run into them sooner or later. But I imagined that if I could have been Miss Sakura. By the time Ron finished it, the conversation at the room had long since concluded. When she opened the door, she turned the swimming pool. All she saw was Sai Yorno by herself. At the edge of the swimming pool, there was a long trail of shoe descending towards Sai's feet, and Sai's feet are still bare, and she's still in the pool. Without a doubt, those prints must have been left by someone else. It's not guaranteed Miss Sakura, though. If Yorno was the culprit, the other person is an accomplice. No. If that was the case, then Yorno wouldn't have brought me to the swimming pool. The fact that I fled the swimming pool so quickly came as a surprise to her. She's clearly been hoping that I stick around a bit longer. If Rayleigh had been kept swimming, then I would have gone and seen the person she spoke with first myself. So these prints do indeed most likely belong to Miss Sakura. Were you talking to someone just now? Yep, first I'm seeing her busy in the swimming pool at a time like this, actually. Actually, it's rare to see her at the pool, period. Someone came here to swim? You're telling me there's someone else on this planet who can go swimming in the winter more than you? Did she and I just slip past each other in the world of the recall point? Hey, didn't you just go swimming with me? Don't act like it's so weird. Miss Sakura. Honestly, I was curious too, so I asked her what she's doing here. She's carrying a bag in one hand, probably a swimsuit. But she said she was just making a delivery to someone, not to go swimming herself. Okay. If only I pushed open that door, could I have seen the living Sakura with my own eyes? We could have... Why did she do that? Because her hair was wet? That makes no sense. So she's kind of a coward herself. I don't know. I feel like I would have pushed open the door. A delivery. So you're saying there was someone else here besides us? I hadn't noticed at all. And there were my classmates who apparently had got the urge to go swimming all of a sudden. They showed up even earlier than we did and then finished swimming by now. Miss Sakura, I miss you. You're not going to ask her to swim with you? Nah. So I stood up, wiped her feet, and put her shoes on. Your nose braided her hair back up. It seems she unties her braid before swimming and before going to bed. It looks like she's going to adapt braiding her hair at this own point. Swimming with you today was pretty nice, so I'm pretty satisfied. What, really? We hardly swam that long. Well, I figured you want more. Yeah, that probably is the case normally, but... So I stretched lazily and leaned in, placing her hand on Ron's shoulder. She was so close that Ron could smell the shampoo on her, the same as Ron's own. Swimming with you reminds me a lot of playing with my little sister. It's been a long time since I've seen her, so it's pretty nice. Also, it'd be a pain to put my swimming suit back on at this point. I'm guessing that the last one's the real reason, huh? So I laughed, giving no answer, and took Ron's hand. Come on, I'll take you to the classroom. Looks like this is probably good enough for now. Pleasant and surprising that I was able to see different side of your nut as well. Not bad. So that didn't help at all. Okay. Can we exit? Is there another special recall? Back and recall. Ron closed the notebook and raised her head and eyes closed, trembling all over. Still haven't quite recovered from that swim. Brr. I remember that one time I got my head chopped off in a recall point. It hurt for days on end after that. Then she lowered her head and buried her face between her legs, letting out a weak groan. The mental pressure caused by recall made her feel like someone had plunged her hand right into her cranium and blended her brain into a total mess. Ran gritted her teeth and forced herself to replay your number of the experience she had during the normal time so that she saw in the recalls didn't get mixed in. Otherwise she'd lose her mind, or at least that's what she figured. She envisioned 2 boxes of puzzle pieces in front of her where all the pieces were mixed up. All she needed to do was complete the image of Ann Sakura's smiling face on the left. In her imagination, Ron plucked the necessary fragments away and completed her lover's expression bit by bit. It's almost done. Fortunately, she was already quite used to this and quickly returned to her normal state. Alright, that's enough. The answer to the case is obvious, so let's finish the job. Alright, enough clues I've collected. Let's try to find the answers. First, let's list all the questions and select the ones to the most worth considering out of all of them. The answers to the questions will lead me to the truth. I don't even know who it is, really. So... how did... So, we know that she went to the pool to give her something, because that's what she's told Urano. I think those are the same question. I don't know why is it clean? That's right, the span of time between Urano's Lieutenant Miss Sakura and the class president of Radicals was very short. The culprit severed Miss carotid artery and repeated the cut the most time. They must have gotten a large amount of blood on themselves. Based on what I saw in the recall, Miss Sakura appeared around 6:40, which means that the killer had extremely limited time and power to commit the crime and clean the blood off themselves. This is an important question. Was Miss Sakura the only one who spoke to urinal? There was no doubt. Oh yeah, that's true, because like there's no one else there. Oops, my bad. Okay, the culprit would definitely have chosen to ride the pool beforehand. Okay, and then why choose the pool? It's very strange. Everyone in the class really knew that you were not go swimming in the morning. Even if she didn't go every day, the culprit would still have no reason to take the risk of killing Miss Sakura near the pool. This question requires further consideration. And then, well, she said that she wanted to return something, right? So would be that one. And why would? This question doesn't need to consider Sakura returned something. Yeah, so that's knowing the killer called Miss Sakura to the pool, be how discerning her. This is where contemplation. Let's write it down for now. Okay, and how can the culprit be determined? That's right. Even if I reduce the culprit's entire process and even guess her so as long as I have no evidence, I wouldn't be able to indict her. By this moment, it doesn't look like I can find any reliable physical evidence, so you'll use methods to suspect her. Hopefully, after I reason the entire murder process, there will be only the possible suspects left. The question always requires consideration. Okay. What now? Okay. Right. Those would be the 4 questions then. Let's answer them in logical order. First up, how did the culprit call Miss Sakura out to the swimming pool? Arranged it beforehand, I think. Come on, that's ridiculous. I forgot to bring a kids over that. Wait, I mean, they arranged it beforehand. Phone? That's right, Miss Phone Sakura. I mean, I don't feel like that's just like, but neither of the culprit didn't know Miss Sakura's phone's password, or she didn't want to see around the fellows classmate. In any case, she read the records left by cell phone contact. I'm sure that even if they committed murders, they'll still be worried about things like that. After all, they believe that their mere murders couldn't possibly determine their ongoing relations with the murder victims. So in other words, to prevent text messages from being found, the culprit had no choice but to hide Miss Sakura's phone. Whether the culprit was carrying it on herself or if she tossed it in a neglected corner, it wouldn't pose much of a problem for the culprit. Now, why did the culprit choose to commit the murder at the swimming pool? I think it's they need the showers, right? Because you need to clean up really fast. So that's right, Miss Sakura's corpse appeared in the old shower rooms and there were no signs of the body being dragged around, so the scene of the crime was likely to have been right there. In combination with Miss Sakura's reason for visiting the pool, the reason why she appeared in the shower room becomes obvious as well. The culprit lied, saying that she had forgotten to bring what was related to the shower room, which was why Sakura trusted her and entered the shower room. So rather than say that culprit tricked Miss Sakura into visiting the swimming room full, it's more accurate to say she tricked Miss Sakura into visiting the showers. Since the showers, the culprit can easily wash up all the blood stains while also making the act of calling Miss Sakura seem very natural. The thing that she said she forgot to bring was possible her school uniform. She probably spun Miss Sakura's story about how she accidentally got water on the uniform, so she brought her something. Then after Miss Sakura brought her a set of replacement clothes in the shower, the culprit, who was wearing the swimsuit, cut open Miss Sakura's neck, getting blood all over herself in the process. But because she's wearing a swimsuit, and because there was a shower right there, the culprit was able to clean up the bloodstains very quickly and head to class. Alright, that explains why the culprit chose to make the move near the pool, as well as how they cleaned up the bloodstains all at once. There's just one last question left. Why would such little physical evidence I have to come up with ways to narrow down the range of suspects and find the culprit? What angles should I take to narrow in the culprit? Time frame? Method? Well, we know the method, what they did. The motive is the game. So time frame? Time frame's so far. I don't know. I mean, motive's the game because they have to pick the victim in the lot, right? So, I I don't know. That's right, time frames. The time frames in which the case occurred is very short. And class morning meeting sets a reasonable upper bound on it. Once we reduce Ms. Sakura's time to death, we can compare that the time of each student's arrival in the classroom, easily narrow it down from the range of suspects. Though the recalls have similar experience, both the morning meetings in classrooms and the encounter between Ms. Sakura and Yuna at the school pool, time was on my side. I heard Yuna and Ms. Sakura speak around 6:40, and besides Yuna, the last person to arrive at the classroom was the class president, who showed around 7. So Ms. Sakura was killed sometime between these 20 minutes, based on the time it took me and Indo to reach the school building, and in that time it took me and Yuna to reach the pool. I can calculate that if the killer ran the whole way, she might be able to reach the classroom between 10 and 13 minutes, so it is the president. But nobody arrived looking in the classroom looking like they come up from a run, so Copper spent the last section of the trip trying to adjust their breathing back to normal. Just 15 minutes or so for the couple to reach the classroom. That ought to be a reasonable time frame. Once everything's added up, the earliest time frame that the killer could have possibly at the classroom is approximately 6:55. So the identity of the culprit is all but certain now. Overall, it's pretty much exactly how I thought it would turn out. Even though there's many strange things about this place, in the end, they're all just students. The case itself was very simple. The difficult part will be if I can further repeat the process of the crime. After all, there's no police here. There's no meaning for enforcing the culprit to confess, even with a mountain of evidence. If I can't recall the exact process successfully, then Dan won't revive. Then the next step is to find the class and recount the process of the murder to them. After that, indicting the culprit should end it. But the most critical clue that I used to identify the culprit was gained through recall, and that's not something I can tell them about. At least not before I can trust them. I've long since learned my lesson about letting others know. And I said before that recounting the cases and identifying the culprit were the only things that were necessary. They didn't say anything about listing all of the evidence. Also, in the end, I still have no idea why Miss Sakura bled so much. Whatever. In any case, let's try stalling them with other piece of evidence first. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here. The game's getting really interesting. I thought it would start off pretty slow first, but it's picking up. I think it's the class president then, right? Because she was the last one to arrive. Her and I think it was the mechanic girl. The mechanic girl. So excited those two. But I'm not too sure. Well, I think it's the president. The president was too obvious, but I think it might be the mechanic girl. She might be a bit stronger. But, okay. Well, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!